So how do you define a brand? And how important is it to you as an artist? And how do you go about building one? You see, the definition of a brand, it's evolved over the years. Some would say it's a visual representation of a business, a product, a corporation, or you, an artist. Others would say it's that gut feeling, those emotional responses that somebody gets when they're first introduced to a product, business, corporation, or an artist. But when it comes to your music, your brand is you. It's who you are. This is your story. This is your persona. This is what makes you unique and separates you from other people in your genre. And believe it or not, this brand, this story, your persona is just as important as the music that you put out to the world. Now, for branding to be done right, you need to consistently tell this story, represent this persona across all platforms. So that means everywhere where somebody can get in contact with you as an artist, your music, your brand, you need to consistently display this persona, this story. Because this is the truth. These days, people just don't buy into music anymore. People are not gonna just buy into you because of your music. The truth is these days, people buy into personas. It's who stands behind the music. And that's why building this persona, this brand, is important when it comes to establishing a fan base. And it could be the greatest step you could take from turning your passion into more than just a hobby. Now let's hit my office so I could break some things down to you. All right, you guys, so I'm gonna break some things down to you on the whiteboard. Now, when you're getting started building this brand, it's easy to get confused. It's easy to overcomplicate things because there are so many different aspects that go into building a strong brand. But to simplify things, I like to break it down into 3 major factors that go into a strong brand. In the beginning of this video, we talked about building a strong story and persona. So that is the first step when it comes to building a strong brand. That's the most important part of building this brand, and so many artists look past this. So your story and your persona. Now this is who you are as an artist. This is how you got there, and this is why you're doing what you're doing. This goes into your sound, this goes into your style, this goes into your swagger, this goes into every aspect that you portray to the public, to the world, this story and the persona. And like I said, this is who you are, this is how you got there, and this is why you're doing what you're doing. And this right here is what people buy into. This right here is your bread and butter. You need to establish this. You need to keep it authentic. Don't overcomplicate things. But this is a focus that you need to, anything that you set out and do, any song you release, any project that you're on, you gotta make sure you're representing this story and persona. This is how you build a fan base. This is what people get attached to. This is what keeps them loyal to you. You're a brand. So the second part that goes into building a strong brand is usually what most people will recall. This is what most people will say when you ask them what they define a brand as, and that is a brand identity. This is the visual aspects that go into a brand. You know, when you ask the average person what they think of when they think of brand, they're gonna tell you, usually the first thing they're gonna tell you is a logo. And that is an example of a part of a brand's identity, right? It's the visual aspects. Now, as an artist, you don't need to have a logo. Now, a lot of artists do. That is part of something that can make you unique and set you apart from the others. That could be your artwork for your projects, which is your singles, your EPs, your album, the artwork that goes behind it. That's part of your brand. Your social media design, you know, whatever you're posting, content-wise on your social media. Let's say your banners on your Facebook, that's part of your branding. Every single visual aspect that somebody comes in contact with, when they are introduced to you, that is your brand identity, right? So that's your logo, that's your artwork, that's your social media design. That could be your tagline if you have one. That could be your website if you have one. And I'm not saying that you need to have all these things to build a strong brand, but all these things are part of a brand identity. Let's say you have merchandise, that's part of your brand identity. Okay? Everything you post, like that bio you have on Instagram, that's part of your brand identity. Even these little things, it can include your fonts that you use, your color schemes. All this stuff plays a part in your brand identity, and it should all complement this right over here, which is your story and persona. A lot of artists are focused on making quality music, right? That's what you're supposed to be doing. But these days, it's not enough in most cases. You got to have some other appeal. You got to be attracting these audiences some other way, at least in the beginning, when you're trying to stand out, right? That's the hardest part, is standing out from all the noise that's going on. Putting a lot of thought on this before you release anything, before you move on anything. The last factor that I put here is consistency. So obviously, you know, as an artist, you need to be consistently creating, right? You need to be consistently putting out music, especially today, right? You see artists are putting out more singles now to stay current rather than albums. Maybe they'll put out an EP, but it's more singles. So you need to be consistently telling your story, representing this persona through the music that you make, through the content that you post, right? Through the interactions that you have with your fans, through the merchandise you put out, through everything you do. You gotta stay consistent. You keep these three aspects in a continuous rotation, and you keep your mind on all of them. Everything you do as an artist, you're asking yourself, am I sticking to my story and my persona? Am I showing who I am? Am I showing how I got there? Am I showing why I do what I do? Am I representing my style? How am I showing my unique qualities through everything that I do? You need to ask yourself that. And then for every bit of the visual aspect that you put out there to the world, whether that's a video you post, whether that's a graphic for a flyer that you have, whether that's a tagline, whether that's an album name, whether that's album artwork or EP artwork, or, you know, singles, whatever it is, it's capturing this, the who, the how, and the why you do what you do. All right, you guys, so if you found some value from this video, please don't hesitate, show some love, hit that subscribe button. Until next time, I hope you guys stay healthy, stay true, stay making music. Peace.